Alright, today we're going to be making chocolate eclairs and coffee choux buns from the famous English bakery Fitzbillies. Now if you haven't heard of Fitzbillies, it's been around for over 100 years and located in Cambridge, England. They're well known for their Chelsea buns and other baked goods. So with that being said, let's hop into it.
To get started on the dough, the recipe calls for 95 grams of unsalted butter mixed with 140 milliliters of water, and you're going to bring this to a light boil before mixing in 130 grams of all-purpose flour. Mix together and continue beating for about 4 minutes until the dough is smooth. Afterwards, and while the dough is still hot in either a hand or stand mixer, we're going to blend for 1 minute on high until the dough is cooled, at which point we're going to add 4 medium eggs and mix on high again for about 3 minutes until that dough becomes thick, glossy, and really holds its shape for the eclairs and choux buns. Once the mixture is completely cooled, add it to a piping bag, and then you're going to want to use about a 2 centimeter or 3/4 inch tip, or cut a hole around that size for piping out these eclairs. We're looking to have these around 10 centimeters or 4 inches long, and then we're going to place in a 375 degree oven for about 30 minutes, and the recipe states not to open the oven door during the first 25, otherwise they could collapse. While baking, we're going to make our chocolate icing. So in a double boiler, we're going to add 50 grams of dark chocolate and 2 tablespoons of water and melt that until smooth and glossy, and then immediately remove from heat. Then the recipe calls for 150 grams of icing sugar, so I'm using powdered sugar, and when mixing, you're going to notice that the mixture was really thick, so I added another 1 to 2 tablespoons from the hot water used in the double boiler, and then when mixing, it gave us that thick, glossy icing that we're looking for. The whipped cream filling, we're going to add about 10 ounces of heavy whipping cream to a mixer, and then we're going to mix on high until we get stiff peaks. Off recipe, I did add a teaspoon of powdered sugar to add a little bit extra sweetness. Once your eclairs have that nice light golden color on top, you can pull them out of the oven, and then we're going to let them cool for about 10 minutes before we start icing. We just want to make sure that the eclairs are not too hot so that icing can hold its shape. Now for filling the eclairs, we're just going to cut them in half with a bread knife, and then I've added in that whipped cream from earlier into another piping bag with a classic star-shaped tip. And you can really fill these things to your liking. I filled them up nice and full just to remind me of my time at Fitzbillies, and there you have it, those are the eclairs. Now for the choux buns, the process is generally the same, except this time we're going to add a blob of dough about the size of a tennis ball onto our parchment paper. We're going to cut off the tops with the scissors and round it with a spoon to get a flat top. And it's going to go in the same 375 degree oven, except this time for about 35 minutes. Same as the eclairs, you're going to know they're done when they have that light golden color. Now for the coffee icing, the recipe calls for 400 grams of that icing sugar and then 50 milliliters of a strong coffee. So I made myself a French press of some dark roast and adding it in bit by bit until we get that same consistency as the chocolate icing. And in the same fashion as before, you're going to want to let your choux buns cool down a little bit before icing them. I probably could have waited a little bit longer, as when filling with whipped cream, the buns were still slightly warm. But there you have it, your eclairs and coffee choux buns. If you guys liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.